Hi, I'm Sean Harriet of Holly Park Media at hollyparkmedia.com, and this is my entry in the eLearning Hero Screencast Challenge number 6, just to talk through one of my favorite apps, preferably a free one, and this is free. I learned about this from Mike Enders, who works with Articulate and posts a lot of tutorial videos and things. This is called the Levelator. And it does what it implies, which is it takes your audio levels and it just smooths them out. I do a lot of voiceover for all kinds of things, from documentaries to web videos to e-learning projects. And with a lot of these, you really want sort of the dynamic range in terms of volume to be pretty consistent. And as you can see, as I'm talking here, recording what I'm doing in Adobe Audition, I'm going to get some peaks and valleys, which is completely normal. But you want to smooth those out a little bit so that you get a consistent level in your final project. And that's what the Levelator does. So you need to record your audio as a WAV file, which is not a big deal. If you want to eventually have an MP3 file, all you have to do is just save as. And it's the same in Audacity as it is in Audition. They're very similar in terms of controls. So now I've got some audio. I'm going to apply a little fix there, repair DC offset. Now, normally what I would do is apply, well, first I would go in, smooth out some of those peaks and valleys just a little bit so that they're all in kind of the same basic range. And then I would apply some EQ and some other stuff, which I won't do here because I don't really need to. But the other step that I would take normally is I'll pop everything up to about -6 dB. And I record so it's hitting around -12 because I find that it's a lot easier to raise the level of your recording than it is to try to reduce it later. And if you have it up too high, it's going to distort. I mean, there's no way around that. So what I'll do normally is pop it up to about -6. Usually I'd probably bring those down a little bit too, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. And then I'll go ahead and hard limit to 0.03. And see, I'm getting sort of a more consistent, I've got a bass here, which is kind of flat. If it does it a little bit when you're hard limiting, that's fine. What hard limiting does is it tries to bring all of those peaks and valleys to the level you have set. Whereas normalize takes your highest peak and raises it or lowers it to the level you've set. So what I tend to do is I'll very carefully hard limit, and then I'll normalize to almost 0 dB. So I've still got lots of peaks and valleys going. I'll go ahead and save this. And this is the Levelator. You just download it, just do a Google search for Levelator, and you'll find it without a problem. So then you just take your file and drag it over to the Levelator. And you can see now it's processing, and it's all done. What it will do is it will create a file which just appends your file with .output. So it'll be test.output.wave. So we'll go to my folder here and open up test output. And again, this is the output we were just looking at. So it doesn't make it as uniform as hard limiting does, but I don't think you necessarily want it to. Again, with hard limiting, you want to use it very, very sparingly, very judiciously. But with the Levelator, you get a pretty nice, consistent level. And that's important. You know, if you're doing a big project especially, you need to make sure that all of your levels are within the same range. And the Levelator makes sure that you do that. What I tend to do, like if I'm doing a long voiceover where I have a lot of elements, even if I'm going to chop those up, you know, I have 20 minutes of audio that's eventually going to become 20 files that I'm going to send to the client. I'll do all my editing first, all my cleanup, and then I'll put that master file through the Levelator. And that way I've got a very consistent level as I'm chopping those up. Also, it saves me from having to do that 20 times. But there you go. It's called the Levelator, and you can find it quite easily online. Thanks for watching.